welcome to day 15 of our live updates from Vine Health on the current pandemic. It's been very interesting this last 2 weeks that I've been doing this, and I knew it was going to go on for the long haul because pandemics generally tend to go on for a while. And I did commit myself to doing this every day until we see a plateauing in the number of infections and the number of deaths. As I always say, Vine Health is focused on bringing you the facts from the last 24 hours and just keeping you well, helping you to stay strong, to feel well, and to thrive during this time. And that's the purpose of Vine Health. So it's Monday, it's another week. You wouldn't know it if you're working from home, but it is Monday and we have to motivate ourselves. And I've titled today sort of Monday motivation and also regaining control through surrender. And I will explain to you why I have titled it Regaining Control Through Surrender. Now, in the last, over the weekend, because I wasn't here on Sunday, yesterday, so I'll tell you what's going on in the last few days. I hope you all had a really deep spiritual practice yesterday. I hope you spent time pursuing whatever faith that you believe in. I had a good morning with my family as well. So over the last 2 days, what's happened? I'll start again with Nigeria first. And as we know, the number of cases in Nigeria has gone up to 111. I think the last time we spoke, I think it was probably 81 or 89. I can't remember now. But now it's gone up to 111 with one death still, which is a great thing because that means that people are not dying from it. Or is it because people are not testing? Which one it is? Which one is it? We don't know. But my friends that are on the ground in Lagos have said, well, they don't think people are testing enough. And quite a few doctors that I know in Nigeria say that they are managing patients with signs and symptoms of coronavirus at home. So those patients are at home and they are treating them over the phone and recommending what they should take. That's very, very interesting. And if that's the case, I think, it just shows the weakness in the healthcare system, but this is a learning point for all of us. Also, Lagos and Abuja and I think another city have now locked down from tonight. From tonight at 8 o'clock, there will be a 2-week lockdown, and the same rules that apply in other parts of the world, including the UK, will now apply in Lagos and Abuja, I think Port Harcourt as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. But people are not allowed to go out unless for only essential things. So now, what about the United Kingdom? What has happened since Saturday? Now, unfortunately, and sorry to be the bearer of bad news, I'm sure many of you already know this, that the number of deaths has now gone up to over 1,000. It's now 1,235 as of last night. I think these are cases that have been on ventilation for the last few weeks, and we're now seeing people dying now because they've been on ventilation. And the longer you're on ventilation for the respiratory machine, the more likely the chances are people are going to die. And what we're seeing is a 50-50 recovery rate in that. The number of positive cases in the UK is now about over 20,000. So it's going up again. And unfortunately, we're now also beginning to lose healthcare workers to this deadly virus. And one of an ENT surgeon lost his battle with this very recently, and our hearts go out to his family and all healthcare workers, all of us. We just have to keep being careful, whether you're a frontline healthcare worker or you work in administration, but you're around patients. Let's keep on just praying and be careful. And the UK as well, social distancing measures are said to will carry on now for at least another couple of weeks up until the end of May, June. So we're not going back to work anytime soon. We're staying at home. So, 1 week is enough, is bad enough. But now when we now extend it to several months, you have to start thinking about how you're going to cope. And that's why I titled today, Regaining Control Through Surrender. So it's going to go on for a while, and things are not expected to go back to normal for another 6 months. We also know that over 20,000 former healthcare staff have signed up to help, which is wonderful, and we're really, really pleased about that. And also the vaccine, there's some vaccine trials now. One vaccine trial has started in Oxford. So if you are young, strong, and able to help, please sign up for the trials. I've posted it on the Vine Health's page to go and sort of sign yourself up to participate in this trial where they will test this on you. Oh, absolutely. The administrative workforce are crucial. We can't deliver healthcare without them. So they're very, very, very important. Thank you for mentioning that in the comment. They're very, very important. And, the admin at my work, some of them are very anxious about it because sometimes we don't communicate enough with our administrative workforce. I make it a point that before all of this, that I meet with the administrative workforce once every month and just tell them what's going on and have an open door policy, because they are at risk as well of getting infected with this virus because they are around patients. They're also around frontline healthcare workers who are exposed to this. So anyone who's not acknowledging the administrative workforce in the healthcare system really needs to have another rethink, because we can't function without the administrative workforce. So that's all about the United Kingdom. The United States, again, its deaths have gone up to over 2,400, and the cases are now about 140,000. And now they've extended the social distancing measures till the end of April. So all that talk about, let's everything be back by Easter, we clearly knew that wasn't going to work. And so that's what's going on now. I'm not going to talk too much about the other countries because it's such negative news with Spain and Italy. Try not to watch all of these things. Honestly, I felt quite sad when I saw the state of Spain and Italy. What even broke my heart even more was India. I don't know if anybody saw that on the news. In India, they've brought down a lockdown suddenly. And what they said anyway on the news, if I'm wrong, any Indians can correct me here, is that 80% of the workforce are they get daily wages, and they come from outside of the city. So in Delhi, they locked down Delhi, and thousands of these people are trying to get back to their villages with no transport, with no money, with no food. And they were packed like sardines. Imagine if there's 10 people with coronavirus in that huge crowd. How this is going to spread. So it's a situation. So I don't, it's what's going on. We have to know about it, but we have to fill our minds with positive consciousness rather than the influx of the 24/7 news. Now, I'm going to go now to my main topic of today, which is regaining control through surrender. And this came to my mind was when I went to a supermarket here and, wanted to quickly get in very, very early at 6 o'clock to try and beat the queue so I can, be out of there. Bearing in mind that as a healthcare worker, I can get into the shops anytime. But let me just quickly. I got there at 6 a.m. and there was already a queue outside, and then as I was sort of trying to get on the queue, we were all told, sorry, it's closed until 8 o'clock. So I had to go back home and then come back about 7:45. By the time I got back there at 7:45, there was a huge long queue outside. Obviously, I used my my healthcare status, which I didn't want to. I stayed outside for about 20 minutes. I didn't want to because I saw people were older than me, who I felt needed to get in more quicker. But I had to. So I went in, and everybody's buying things, and you can see the anxiety and the fear on people's faces. And what is this down to? This is down to a loss of control. We all feel a sense of a loss of control. A month ago, we're walking around, no care in this world. I went to a birthday party. I could go anywhere I wanted. I could go to the shops. I could go to the gym. No one was stopping me. Nobody was stopping you. And all of a sudden, now you're told you can't do what you used to do before. What that's going to express itself as is a feeling of fear, a deep-seated fear and a loss of control. And many of us try to get that control back by making sure that we have all the food that we need. We don't run out of anything. It almost feels like a war. I've never been in a war situation, but I'm sure there are people maybe who are old enough to remember some sort of war, or who have been in that situation. It feels like that desperation where you want to grab onto any control you can get, by buying things and by doing all of these things. And it then it can go from that stressful feeling, a feeling of stress, and as I always say, it will cascade into deep-seated mental health issues, where we then get the generalized anxiety, and then the depression and the paranoia and the obsessive compulsive disorders. This can all spill into that. We're washing our hands. By the time I finished in the shop, I had to go to the bathroom and wash my hands because I'm thinking I don't want to carry anything back home. Is that feeling? So there's a loss of control. There's a feeling of a loss of control, and there's a fear that we will all experience. And if you don't consciously tell yourself that, I'm not going to succumb to this, it will spill over. So how can we regain a sense of control? The first thing is by surrendering. Surrender just means that, look, listen, hey, there's nothing I can do actively about this. Actively means that you cannot go out and stop coronavirus now. You cannot open the airports again. You have no active control. So acknowledge that you have no control and surrender. And when you have a sense of surrender and a sense of acceptance, then the feeling of fear starts to dissipate. So you can only change the situation by surrendering and by following the guidelines that have been set for us to help ourselves and to help others. So follow the guidelines and remember what the guidelines are. Stay in your house. Only go out once a day for one exercise a day, or to go and get essential items, or to work, or to go and help somebody more vulnerable than you. And when I say to work, it's only for the essential, the key workers. So frontline healthcare workers and the roles that are considered, frontline and key work. So that's what you can do. So follow those guidelines. You follow that, then that's a way of regaining some form of control, because you are then doing your bit. So first thing is surrender. I can't do anything about this. So, hey, I'm just going to do what I've been told to do. And then follow those guidelines. And also, there's something you can do as well. Recognize when this feeling of loss of control is spilling over into a more severe form of mental health problem. Recognize when you are not able to sleep. I know people who have not been able to sleep. You're not able to sleep. You're having palpitations. You're trembling. You're developing generalized anxiety. Recognize that. Recognize the signs of depression. Recognize the signs of any thoughts of suicide, any suicidal thoughts. Those are severe forms of mental illness, and your doctor will be happy to speak to you over the phone and give you the care that you need. Another tip is to write down your feelings. I don't know if anybody's mentioned about journaling, but if you write down how you feel about the situation, it kind of helps to, let it all out. So write it down and then plan what you can control. So plan what you can control. So plan your day. Is Monday. Have a plan, either a strict plan or a loose plan. I think that's, and remember to count your blessings. Count your blessings. You are alive. If you're watching me today, it's either you have a very mild form or moderate form of coronavirus, or a mild form of illness, or you are not ill at all. So count your blessings as well. Yeah. And remember to give back. People are struggling. Some people are struggling more than you are. Give somebody a call today. You just never know. I spoke to somebody at 3 a.m. this morning. So give back something and just help somebody. When you help someone, you will feel that you yourself, you feel better in yourself. So that's the end of our day 15 live updates. Send a comment. There was a question actually that I forgot to answer. Sorry for not answering that question. I put it on my story so that I would remember. So bear with me. Let me quickly answer that question before I sign out. So yes, the question I got was, can you get reinfected with the coronavirus? Now that is a big question. Can you get reinfected with the coronavirus? Now, what they taught us in school, we doctors, is that when you have a viral illness, your body then develops antibodies to that virus and you don't get reinfected with the same strain. So you may have a separate strain, but you don't get infected with the same strain. Also, you might have the virus dormant in your system and sometimes expresses itself again. So when you see people that have herpes zoster, you have the cold sores, or that have herpes genitalia, they have herpes in their down nether regions. That's the herpes virus, and it's always in the system. So you're not getting reinfected. It just, reveals itself from time to time. So that's what we were taught, that you get a virus, you don't get it again. And when they test you, you clearly would not have an active form of that virus. However, in this situation, we don't have enough to make a definite assertion. My view is that once you have the coronavirus once, you develop some sort of immunity to it and you don't get it again, at least not in the short term. However, there was one case where they said a woman was negative and then she was positive. Well, we don't know, because even the tests are not that accurate now. They're getting better and better. So from my medical knowledge, which has been 20 years old, and from the best of our knowledge, once you have coronavirus and you have the illness, you shouldn't get it again, but the science is still being looked at. So that's my answer to that question. Feel free to send any other questions for tomorrow and any comments and feedback and anything else you would like to hear. It's always my pleasure to give my time and energy and research to this daily updates, and I hope it helps somebody. Thank you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow.